Settle in for a tale that unfolds beneath the vast American sky, in the heart of a small town named Monroe. It's a story that began innocently enough, just a man, an old gas station, and a radio that held the keys to a reality more twisted than anyone could imagine. It was a chilly autumn evening, and my old pickup truck was begging for a drink from the nearest gas pump. The glow of neon lights welcomed me to a seemingly ordinary gas station on the outskirts of Monroe. Nothing about the place struck me as peculiar at first, just the usual assortment of flickering lights and a rusty sign that moaned in the breeze. As I stepped out into the crisp night air, I noticed the faint crackle of a radio playing from somewhere nearby. The source became apparent as I approached the pump, an old, beaten-up radio perched on the edge of the gas station counter. It emitted a soft hum, the kind that took you back to a time when technology had a different heartbeat. I ignored it initially, more focused on the mundane task of filling my tank. The radio, however, had other plans. As I clicked the nozzle into place, its static-filled hum transformed into a voice that would unravel the fabric of my reality. The broadcaster spoke in hushed tones, weaving a narrative that seemed to echo the chapters of my own life. It started innocuously enough, detailing recent events in Monroe, events that mirrored my own experiences with uncanny precision. The voice spoke of the autumn wind that tousled the leaves, the very leaves I kicked absent-mindedly on my way to the gas pump. Curiosity gripped me as the voice delved into my personal life, recounting the minutiae of my routine in a way that no stranger should know. It spoke of the coffee shop I frequented, the dog I walked every morning, and the favorite diner where I had breakfast on lazy Sundays. The radio wasn't just broadcasting, it was narrating my existence. As the broadcast continued, the hairs on the back of my neck stood at attention. The voice started predicting my future moves, detailing the next steps I would take after leaving the gas station. It was as if someone had been tailing me, studying my every move with unsettling accuracy. A chill ran down my spine as the voice outlined my plan to visit the diner for a late-night cup of coffee. I hesitated, glancing around the deserted gas station as if expecting someone to leap out from the shadows. The radio continued, narrating the very conversation I'd have with the waitress, describing the checkered pattern of the diner's worn-out floor. The radio seemed to transcend the boundaries of coincidence, venturing into a realm where the fabric of reality was stretched thin. My skepticism wavered, and I questioned whether I had stumbled upon a broadcast from another dimension or if someone, somewhere, was toying with the very essence of my existence. Determined to unravel the mystery, I decided to deviate from the radio script. Instead of heading to the diner, I impulsively drove to the edge of town, steering clear of the well-trodden paths dictated by the mysterious voice. It was a feeble attempt to assert control over my own narrative, to break free from the invisible strings that seemed to tether me to a preordained destiny. The radio, however, had other plans. As I drove further into the night, the voice adapted, guiding me through the winding roads with unnerving accuracy. It described the moonlit landscapes I passed, the rustling of leaves in the chilly breeze, and the silhouette of a lone deer crossing the road. The unease settled in, transforming my sense of adventure into a descent into the unknown. The radio's predictions were no longer limited to my immediate surroundings. It began painting a vivid picture of events that hadn't unfolded yet, a future shaped by a voice that seemed to defy the boundaries of time and space. With each passing mile, doubt gnawed at the edges of my sanity. The radio's voice had become a constant companion, a spectral narrator dictating my every move. I couldn't escape its omniscient grasp, and the lines between reality and illusion blurred with each passing moment. My attempt to resist the radio's influence led me to a dilapidated motel on the outskirts of Monroe. The flickering neon sign welcomed me to a place frozen in time, a relic from a bygone era. The radio, undeterred by my defiance, continued its eerie broadcast, predicting the very room I would choose and the creaking of the bed as I settled in for the night. The motel room felt like a cocoon of isolation, the walls echoing with the voice that had become both guide and tormentor. I wrestled with the notion that perhaps I had stumbled upon a rift in reality, a cosmic glitch that tethered me to a script written by unseen hands. Sleep, an elusive sanctuary, finally claimed me, but even in the realm of dreams, the radio's voice persisted. It whispered cryptic messages, offering glimpses into a future that unfolded like a macabre tapestry. I saw scenes of the diner, the gas station, and the motel, all woven together in a surreal dance orchestrated by an unseen puppeteer. Morning brought no reprieve. The radio's voice greeted me as I awoke, its predictions now entangled with the events of the previous night. It spoke of my restless sleep, the very dreams that had tormented my subconscious. The line between my waking hours and the nocturnal reverie blurred, leaving me ensnared in a web of uncertainty. Fueled by a desperate need for answers, I decided to confront the source of the eerie broadcast. The gas station, my initial waypoint, seemed to be the epicenter of this bizarre phenomenon. As I approached, the radio's voice intensified, weaving a narrative that seemed to anticipate my every thought and action. The gas station, bathed in the morning light, stood as a silent witness to the enigma that had consumed my reality. The radio, perched on the counter like an ancient oracle, crackled with anticipation as I approached. It spoke of my decision to confront it, the questions that swirled in my mind, and the skepticism that gripped my every step. With trembling hands, I switched off the radio, plunging the gas station into an abrupt silence. For a moment, the world seemed to hold its breath, as if the very fabric of reality awaited my next move. The neon lights flickered, casting long shadows that danced with the uncertainty that now shrouded the gas station. As the radio fell silent, so did the voice that had dictated my every move. The air, once thick with an otherworldly presence, now felt ordinary, devoid of the supernatural whispers that had bound me to a predetermined fate. I stood there, grappling with a reality that seemed both familiar and alien. Monroe, with its quiet streets and unassuming gas station, returned to a semblance of normalcy. The radio, now dormant, held no answers, leaving me to reconcile with the possibility that I had ventured into a realm where the boundaries of fate and free will converged. The gas station, a mere backdrop in the grand theater of the unknown, stood as a monument to the surreal journey that had unfolded beneath the American sky. The radio, once a harbinger of premonitions, now sat in silence, its mysteries buried beneath layers of unanswered questions. And so, dear listeners, as you traverse the roads that crisscross the vast expanse of this great nation, remember that reality is a fragile tapestry, easily unraveled by forces beyond our comprehension. The gas stations that dot the landscape may hold secrets that defy explanation, and the radios that crackle with static may be conduits to dimensions where the mundane and the extraordinary dance in a delicate balance. As for me, I continue my journey, haunted by the echoes of a radio that once dictated my every move, forever questioning the nature of the reality that binds us all. I, a weary traveler in my late 20s, cruising through the quiet town of Crestwood on a muggy evening, seeking refuge in the flickering neon lights of a gas station. After refueling and grabbing a late-night snack, I strolled through the convenience store aisles. There, outside, stood a disheveled hitchhiker, a solitary figure burdened by invisible weights. The man's tattered appearance and unkempt beard sent shivers down my spine, but I dismissed the unease, attributing it to the weariness of the road. Returning to my car with snacks in hand, I felt a lingering gaze on my back. Turning, I locked eyes with the hitchhiker, who stared with an intensity that left an indelible mark on my consciousness. A momentary, silent exchange lingered between us, a subtle dance of discomfort and curiosity. Pushing aside the unnerving encounter, I resumed my journey, the hum of the engine providing a false sense of security. The hitchhiker, however, refused to fade into the rearview mirror. In the next town, his disheveled silhouette reappeared by the roadside, an unwavering specter that sent a chill down my spine. As miles blurred and towns melted into one another, the hitchhiker persisted. No matter how far I drove, each gas station became a stage for the haunting figure. It was as if he existed outside the boundaries of time and space, a relentless companion in my solitary journey through the American heartland. Rockville, Millwood, and the towns in between became waypoints in a surreal game of pursuit. My apprehension intensified with each encounter. The hitchhiker's eyes, fixated on me, bore into the depths of my psyche, leaving questions and doubts that festered like a wound that refused to heal. In Rockville, as I entered the convenience store under the harsh glare of fluorescent lights, the atmosphere turned oppressive. Shadows danced on the linoleum floor, playing tricks on my frayed nerves. The hitchhiker's presence, though unseen, cast a spectral pall over the empty aisles, transforming the mundane act of buying snacks into a nerve-wracking ordeal. Exiting the store, I half expected to see the hitchhiker waiting by the gas pumps. And there he was, a disheveled silhouette bathed in the stark glow of station lights. A silent, mutual acknowledgement passed between us, an acknowledgement that stretched the limits of reason and plunged me into an abyss of uncertainty. Driven by a cocktail of fear and desperation, I resolved to confront the inexplicable. In Millwood, I approached the hitchhiker with a mixture of frustration and trepidation. The man's gaze, though unspoken, carried a weight of knowledge that transcended mere observation. "What do you want from me?" I demanded, my voice echoing in the stillness of the night. The hitchhiker remained silent, his eyes betraying no emotion. It was as if he existed at the intersection of reality and the surreal, a harbinger of unsettling truths that eluded my understanding. Undeterred by the lack of response, I continued my journey, now more determined than ever to break free from the enigmatic grasp of the hitchhiker. The road became a canvas of uncertainty, the gas stations mere checkpoints in a relentless pursuit that defied the logic of the world. As the night wore on, my fatigue transformed into a cocktail of paranoia and dread. The hitchhiker, a constant companion, haunted every stop, an unwavering reminder of an inexplicable reality. The roadside became a theater of the absurd, and I, the unwilling protagonist, grappled with a narrative that refused to adhere to the rules of the known world. It was in the small hours of the morning, on a desolate stretch of highway, that I reached my breaking point. The hitchhiker, standing by yet another gas station, seemed to beckon me into the unknown. Fueled by a cocktail of fear and resignation, I approached the figure, the questions that had festered within me now demanding answers. "Why are you following me?" My voice echoed in the stillness of the night. The hitchhiker, for the first time, spoke in a voice that seemed to resonate from a place beyond the tangible. "You cannot escape what you carry within," he uttered, each word laden with a weight that sent shivers down my spine. As the hitchhiker's words hung in the air, a revelation dawned on me. The figure wasn't an external pursuer, he was a manifestation of my own fears, regrets, and unresolved baggage. The hitchhiker was a spectral mirror reflecting the shadows that lingered within the recesses of my soul. In that moment of realization, the hitchhiker began to dissipate like morning mist. His form blurred, merging with the ethereal landscape, leaving me standing alone on the empty highway. The remainder of my journey was a silent introspection, a reckoning with the demons that had trailed me across the heartland. The gas stations, once ominous checkpoints, became markers of personal revelation. The hitchhiker, now a memory etched into the annals of my psyche, had served as a catalyst for a confrontation with the self. As the first light of dawn painted the sky, I entered the city limits, my journey marked not only by the miles traveled but by a profound shift within. The hitchhiker, though gone, left an indelible imprint on my consciousness, a reminder that sometimes the most terrifying specters are the ones we carry within us. And so, dear listeners, as you navigate the winding roads that crisscross the vast expanse of this great nation, remember that the true horror may not always be lurking in the shadows but within the recesses of your own soul. The hitchhiker, a phantom born of internal struggles, serves as a cautionary tale that the road to self-discovery may be haunted by the ghosts we create. I'm on a desolate stretch of highway in the heart of Nevada, the vast desert landscape stretching out before me as I pull into a gas station that seems to have stood frozen in time. The sun dips below the horizon, casting long shadows over the rusty pumps and faded signage. A flickering neon light announces the presence of an ancient payphone that beckons to me like a relic from a bygone era. Curiosity gets the better of me, and against my better judgment, I decide to give that old payphone a try. The metallic clang as I drop in a coin feels strangely archaic in our age of smartphones and digital communication. I press the receiver to my ear, half expecting nothing but static. To my surprise, a voice crackles to life on the other end, a low, raspy timbre that sends a chill down my spine. The voice begins to recount a tale, a horrifying narrative of a past customer who met a gruesome fate after using the same payphone. The details unfold like a macabre script, leaving me questioning my decision to pick up that receiver in the first place. It all started in the small town of Redvale, a forgotten speck on the map that time had seemingly left behind. I found myself there during a cross-country road trip, my car sputtering to a stop at the lone gas station that doubled as the town's unofficial meeting place. The sun was setting, casting a warm glow over the surrounding hills. With a sigh of relief, I pulled into the gas station and surveyed the area. A few rusted cars dotted the parking lot, and the flickering neon sign above the entrance barely illuminated the scene. As I filled up my tank, I noticed an old payphone near the entrance, its faded yellow exterior contrasting sharply with the encroaching darkness. Nostalgia and a sense of curiosity took hold of me. When was the last time I'd seen a payphone, let alone used one? Dropping a coin into the slot, I pressed the receiver to my ear, half expecting to hear nothing but static or the distant hum of the wind. But to my surprise, a voice emerged from the other end, a voice that would unravel a tale of terror and regret. The voice spoke of a traveler much like myself, someone passing through Redvale in search of respite from the open road. They, too, had been drawn to the allure of the ancient payphone. Little did they know that this seemingly innocuous decision would seal their fate. The tale unfolded like a nightmare. The traveler, after making a call, began to experience inexplicable phenomena. Shadows seemed to detach themselves from the corners, the air grew colder, and an unsettling presence gripped the gas station like a vice. As the narrative wove its tendrils, I couldn't help but glance nervously around the gas station, half expecting the shadows to come alive. The voice on the other end described how the traveler's surroundings twisted into a surreal nightmare, as if the fabric of reality itself had frayed. The tale reached its climax when the traveler, unable to escape the encroaching horror, was enveloped by the darkness. The payphone, now a conduit to something beyond comprehension, became a focal point for the supernatural forces that had been unleashed. The voice, now taking on an almost urgent cadence, pressed upon my ears with a weight that transcended the mere vibrations of sound. It was as if the very fabric of the words carried an otherworldly significance, a spectral weight that seemed to permeate the air around me. With each syllable, the warning intensified. It wasn't a casual piece of advice but a desperate plea, a cautionary tale wrapped in the ethereal echo of the caller's regret. The voice insisted that the seemingly innocuous payphone harbored a malevolence beyond comprehension, a dark force that thrived on the very curiosity that led unsuspecting souls to lift the receiver. As the voice unfolded its narrative, it painted a vivid picture of the payphone as a conduit to something far more sinister. It wasn't just a relic of a bygone era, it was a dormant portal waiting for those who dared to engage with it. The caller from Redvale, drawn in by the allure of communication from another time, had unwittingly become entangled in a malevolent force that now sought to share its tale with the living. The voice's insistence became a stark reminder that the payphone wasn't a mere communicator of voices, it was a vessel through which the supernatural could traverse the wires and manifest in the world of the living. The dark force, like a predator lying in wait, fed on the innate curiosity of those who thoughtlessly picked up the receiver, ensnaring them in a spectral web from which escape seemed impossible. The caller from Redvale had become a cautionary tale, a ghostly whisper echoing across the wires. As the voice on the other end concluded its haunting tale, a shiver ran down my spine. The gas station, once a mundane waypoint on my journey, now felt like a stage for something far more sinister. The fading light seemed to cast elongated shadows that danced with an otherworldly rhythm. I hung up the receiver, the metallic clank resonating in the quiet night. The payphone stood there, a relic of a forgotten time, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I had unwittingly become part of a narrative much larger than myself. With trepidation, I retreated to my car, the gas station fading in the rearview mirror as I sped away from Redvale. The voice's warning lingered in my mind, a persistent echo that raised unsettling questions about the nature of the supernatural. The road stretched ahead, winding through the Nevada desert, the vast expanse illuminated only by the pale glow of the moon. Every flickering streetlight, every distant shadow, carried an air of uncertainty. The tale of the haunted payphone had woven itself into the fabric of my journey, and I couldn't escape the feeling that I was being watched. As I drove through the night, the gas station and its cursed payphone became a distant memory, yet the weight of the story lingered. The voice's warning resonated like a spectral whisper, a reminder that some encounters with the unknown were better left untouched. The Nevada landscape unfolded before me, desolate and haunting in the moonlight. The tale of the haunted payphone had left its mark, and I couldn't help but wonder how many other forgotten relics harbored secrets that transcended the boundaries of our understanding. And so, dear listeners, as you navigate the highways and byways of this vast nation, be wary of the relics of the past that dot the roadside. The payphone in Redvale may be just one of many, each with its own tale of horror waiting to be unraveled by those who dare to pick up the receiver and listen to the echoes of the unknown.